Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining back with us for the Sammy Strong on Deck podcast, Warrior Stories. We are very grateful that you are taking some time out of your day to listen and kind of take this journey and hearing about another beautiful family's story. For those who are new to Sammy Strong on Deck, we are an extension of the Sammy Strong Foundation, which is a nonprofit that works to give back to other kids and families who are fighting pediatric brain cancer and on this journey, as well as collaborating and having partnerships with other organizations who are also helping them fight and on this journey with them as well. And each month we have the honor and privilege to connect with another incredible family who are wanting to share their story and talk about their story in the hopes of just really learning and connecting with other families who are on this journey as well. Today we have Becky all the way from South Carolina. Becky, where I didn't want to butcher the city's name of where you're at.
Spartanburg.
Spartanburg. Okay. Okay. I have forever failed phonics, and if it's a word or a name that I don't know, I just automatically apologize because how I hear it phonetically in my head majority of the time is very, very wrong. So I was gonna let you take the wheel for that. But
That's absolutely okay.
yes, yes. But Becky, welcome
Thank you.
and thank you so much for joining us today and sharing a little bit about Audrey and your family's journey. It's similar to a couple other families that we've had the privilege of having on the podcast. Becky and I actually met it's close to 2 years ago. No, not
Well,
about maybe a little
about
over a
a year
year
and a
ago.
half. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, a little over a year ago, but have actually never seen each other face to face as much as face to face as this is. So it's an exciting time for both of us. But Becky, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and talking with us.
absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And we were just talking off air because one of the things that um, very much holds a special place in my heart and our heart for your family and Audrey is because both Sammy and Audrey share a very close interest and which Sammy is all about baseball and Audrey is killing it on the softball field.
She is. She
Yes, I love
is
getting your updates and
incredible.
yes.
Incredible to see her go from, learning how to walk again and,
Mhm.
use her right side to see her just run to the bases, and just being able to hit the ball
Mhm.
is just miraculous to see after what she's been through.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, Audrey is 6,
Yes.
and but if I remember correctly, it was about her, like, 3.5 years old when maybe some different things kinda started with,
Yes.
"Hey, something is off here." Can you kinda
Mhm.
take us back a couple of years when that started?
Absolutely. So, when she was 3.5 years old, she had started daycare and she had gotten a virus where she was coughing a lot.
Mhm.
And she started after that, she just kind of struggled with constantly getting sick because it was her first time um, in a public, setting with other children. So her immune
Sure.
system wasn't very good. So she got sick a lot that year. And she just was, very congested and
Mhm.
I was thinking, well, maybe there's something, we need to see an ENT. Maybe there's something
Mhm.
going on there.
Mhm.
And she started all of a sudden, it was around this time, it she was 3.5 years old, and she was complaining about her neck hurting,
Oh,
and she had just had a nasty virus where she was coughing a lot.
okay.
So we honestly thought, so obviously went to the pediatrician and,
Mhm.
and we both thought, hey, she's probably strained a muscle or,
Sure.
I mean, maybe she's pinched a nerve or,
Mhm.
what I mean, something very, very
A
common when.
thousand other things that it should
Right.
have been. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So I mean, honestly, up until the moment they told us she had a brain tumor, I did not think, I did not think for a moment that, or could
Right.
ever imagine that it was a
Yes.
brain tumor causing this. So,
Yes, yeah.
um, then it just kind of progressively, and there was no other symptoms. There
Wow,
was
okay.
no, and her tumor was in the medulla.
Okay.
So she did not have any, gross motor deficits. You know what I mean? There was
Wow,
nothing
yeah.
obvious.
Other bit like, quote, unquote, "bigger
Right.
telltale
Yeah, there
signs."
was
Yeah.
nothing obvious to say, "Whoa, there's something really wrong going on in
Mhm.
her brain."
Mhm.
And, even our neurosurgeon, was shocked that she didn't have any deficits based off of
Wow.
where the tumor was.
Okay.
But, so that went on. So what she'd say, "Mama, my neck, my neck, my neck."
Mm.
And she would grab it and we'd rub it, we'd put heat on it, and, we were thinking, and she would point right here, right, like, right,
Wow,
um,
yeah, at 3
more
and a half, just being even be able to articulate that is
right,
pretty
right. I
impressive.
mean, it was incredibly painful for her, but it would last for maybe 15 seconds.
Mhm.
And then it would stop.
Mhm.
And that was her only, and it was strange, of course. And um, my mom had mentioned, she had said, "Becky, what if it's, a tumor or something, or,"
Mhm.
and so, I was like, "Oh, no, 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 there's no way. There's
Mhm.
no way," because
Mhm.
you think something more obvious symptoms.
Right. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so what we did, we ended up X-raying her neck,
Okay.
because we were thinking maybe she had injured something or.
Pulled something, yeah,
Right,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. I mean, she's 3.5, so, I mean,
Mhm.
anything can
Mhm.
happen, at that age, and, the X-ray was clear.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, X-rays don't show soft
Mhm.
tissue, so,
Mhm.
even if they had X-rayed a little bit further up, I don't think they would have seen it.
Okay.
Um,
And this is
so
still in South Carolina, right? Like,
yeah,
this primary,
yes,
okay,
this
okay,
is this is through her primary care,
okay, okay.
um, who actually, I thank God every day that he listened to me when we finally said something isn't right here.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I feel we're very fortunate that, he took this seriously,
Yes.
because if we had not acted when we did, it would have been an emergency,
Okay.
um, and a much bigger problem.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so what was happening, so this went on for a year and a half.
Wow,
Um,
okay,
she
okay.
would just randomly, nothing really set it off other than getting congested. If she had a
Mm,
cold, if she had a sinus infection, if she had
okay.
anything, an ear infection especially,
Mhm.
um, it got 10 times worse.
Mhm.
And I think I'm still not really sure why. I think just having that extra congestion and pressure,
Mhm.
was, causing the tumor to cut off her cerebrospinal fluid,
Okay, okay.
um, intermittently. So that's what the pain
The
was coming.
shots of pain, yeah, going down, okay.
I can't even imagine how
Mm,
painful that must have been. And um, honestly, I still feel really guilty that, I was thinking it was really nothing, that
mhm.
I really had it in my head that it was sinus related,
Mhm.
or she needed
Mhm.
to we almost got tubes in her ears, because she
Which really would make sense.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
like, yeah, yeah.
I mean, you look for the most logical,
Mhm.
path when you're,
Mhm.
when your child is sick. So,
Mhm.
that this continued, and I remember seeing, an ENT, um, and even she said, "Yeah, we definitely need to get an MRI to see, what her sinuses look like and what
Mhm.
everything looks like, because where she's experiencing pain, there isn't
Okay.
any sinus connection." You know what I mean? It's too far back.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So even she was saying, "Let's get an MRI."
Yes.
So in early 2024, um, we went to see her pediatrician, and
Mhm.
um, for a sick visit,
Mhm.
and again that she was getting that awful intermittent pain, and it was happening 30 plus times a day,
Wow.
which
Okay.
suggested, I believe she had an ear infection, or something at the time. um, and I said to the doctor, I said, this neck pain, I mean, this has been going on for a year and a half." And he nodded his head and he said, I absolutely agree. This is chronic at this point. I think
Mhm.
it's definitely a good idea to get an MRI and
Mhm.
see what's going on." And
Mhm.
also at that point, she had been developing another symptom which we had not connected yet.
Okay.
So early in 2024, she started vomiting in the morning,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
I did not know. And of
No,
course,
yeah. And
there's no.
the only reason I go, "Oh, okay, I know,"
Yep,
because 'cause I've heard it
yep,
so many times, like, now with that correlation, but
yep,
yeah, same as you, I'd been like, I don't know, you have an upset stomach or, the
right.
sinuses, like, w
It's
the
not
yeah.
obvious enough to connect it.
No, no, not at all.
So, and what, of course, knowing what I know now in
Mhm,
hindsight, that is a
mhm,
massive red flag for brain.
mhm, mhm,
Um, so we actually thought that she had severe reflux,
mhm,
for many years,
mhm.
um, even as a baby, and I thought, well, maybe she's having, like, it's flaring up for whatever
Right.
reason
Right,
and
because 'cause I've
whatnot.
even said, Sammy has allergies, and our daughter too, at certain times throughout the year
Yep,
where they'll wake up with an upset stomach, and I'll be like, "Well, yeah, you've just been, like, swallowing snot for, like, like,
yeah,
overnight, like, of course it's
overnight,
gonna
yeah,
upset your stomach,"
exactly
but
right.
yeah, like, now, again, knowing what we know now, like, yeah, that feels different.
Right, right, yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking looking back,
Mhm,
knowing that the signs were there,
mhm,
but they were um, so minimal,
mhm.
and I think that's why I so desperately want to share her story,
Yes.
not because, I want attention or I want anything.
No,
It's not anything like that. It's
no.
awareness,
Mhm.
that so other families don't have to go through this.
Uh, 1,000%, 1,000%, and I think that it is. It's just I hear over and over again of how powerful that is, and at least a couple of times every time an episode comes out, I hear people going, "Oh my gosh, that resonated so much," or, "Oh my gosh, it was like the either something that I said or something that another family, who came on said, they're like, "It was like I was saying that, but I didn't have the words or I didn't know," or
Right.
yeah, and different things. Because we look back on some things that Sammy was doing right before diagnosis too, that they were so minute
Yep. Yeah,
that
and
and
that's bigger.
one of our good friends who at the time was Sammy's basketball coach, like, he even at that time was like, "I feel so awful because I saw him, doing something weird with his right hand," and he was like, "I don't know, he's being a weird nine-year-old," like, just,
Right, exactly. There's so it
where and it is, it's that awareness, but then also
the guilt.
that guilt, I we live and breathe it, and on my good days, I know consciously we shouldn't feel it,
Absolutely.
and on the good days, I'm like, "No, it's okay, like, we don't know what we don't know." But
Exactly.
yeah, but then there's days where you're like, "Ugh," it's hard. And so I 100% agree with you of that that awareness. So maybe one other person listening can go,
Exactly.
oh, I remember that. I remember throwing up is huge, and different
Exactly.
things. Yeah. Yeah.
If I could save one child, one life, one family from this, I mean, that would be that is just my, sort of feels like my purpose in life
Hmm.
because um, no family should have to go through this,
None.
and no family should have to beg for care um, or be ignored by
Hmm.
doctors or be blown off.
Yes.
Um, I
Yes.
mean, again, we were fortunate that we were not blown off, and I'm so
Right.
grateful that we weren't because um, had she gone any longer, the tumor was, in her medulla and down into
Hmm.
C1. Um,
Okay.
so it was very close to cutting off spinal fluid there.
Oh my gosh.
And it
Okay.
was
I
starting.
guess I didn't realize it had gotten that
Mhm.
close before. So
Yeah.
so you're that next symptom comes, you're going for the MRI,
Mhm. Yeah. So
learning the the thing that changes our world for forever. How were those days for you guys? Because Audrey has a sister,
yes.
how was that all for you guys?
It was terrifying. It was so we got her in for the MRI finally. So initially her primary care had referred us to a neurosurgeon.
Okay.
There's a neurosurgeon here in Greenville, South Carolina. She is excellent. We met with her before the
Okay.
MRI because she's the one who ordered it, and she says this sounds like a Chiari malformation.
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, that makes so much
Mhm.
sense," like
Mhm.
so in my mind, that's all it was, I
Mhm.
mean, not all, 'cause Chiari
I
malformation
know, isn't that funny?
are
We're like,
complex in
"Oh,
their own right,
it's"
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And many brain tumor kiddos actually have
Mhm.
that as well,
Mhm.
I've learned. So, and it made sense.
Mhm.
You know,
It fit. Yeah.
it fit perfectly.
Mhm.
I don't know if morning vomiting goes
Mhm.
along with that or not, but, um, so we went, you never forget the day and you never forget the date.
Nope.
Um,
Nope, Sammy just had his, and
I saw
it
and my heart was with
the
you all
body the
day.
body just keeps score. It's the only way that I can describe
Yep,
it
and
of
I think you described it beautifully because it's a very hard day um, to describe and,
mhm.
eh, tell people sort of, um, you don't really understand it unless you've been through it.
Mhm.
Um, so, 4/25/24, we
Okay.
went in, and initially, Um, I was, supposed to bring her, by myself, and I
Okay.
had just had gallbladder surgery 2
Oh my
weeks
goodness.
prior.
Oh
So,
gosh,
I
yeah.
was like, "Well, I won't be able to hold her, or I can't pick her up or anything like that."
Mhm.
So, my husband met us there it was at, Greenville, Memorial Hospital, and, so it's funny when you look back on this, you remember every little
Yeah.
detail, but some of them are very, um, blurry.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep, that's a perfect wording. Mhm.
yeah, it's just one of those things that's, it's very hard to describe,
Mhm.
in that there almost doesn't seem like enough vocabulary to describe diagnosis day.
Mhm.
Um, So we went in, and thankfully, they were like, "This will be 30 minutes," and,
Mhm.
um, and they as long as we took everything, all metal and stuff off our bodies, we were able to go in there with her,
Okay.
into the MRI, room. So, and they had an ICU nurse that would monitor her, and she was excellent, and they did an amazing job.
Okay.
So she'd never had an IV up until that point. She
Mhm.
never had an IV. The only thing she had ever had was her, the finger prick to, check lead level.
Right,
She
right.
never
Mhm.
even had her blood drawn to that
Yeah.
point. That's
Yeah.
how, seemingly healthy she was.
Mhm.
And she was 5. She just turned 5 that
Mhm.
January. So we did the IV, and she actually did really well with it, and
Oh, yes.
she sat on daddy's lap, and they warned us because they gave her propofol,
Okay.
to sedate her for the scan, and they warned her
Mhm.
she's gonna fall really fast.
Okay.
Um, so they started pushing it, and she did, and I I just lost it, because just to see your child like that is
Oh, it's unnerving.
it's
It's
yeah,
yeah. Yep.
it's 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 awful.
Mhm.
But and I honestly, at that point, I thought, well, that's gonna be the worst part of our day.
Mhm.
So they put her in the scanner, and we're sitting there, and unfortunately, we did not have any way to keep track of time.
Okay.
We couldn't have watches on or anything like
Right,
that, because
right.
we're in the room, and they didn't have a clock on the wall or anything like that. So they're scanning, and they're scanning, and all of a sudden there are more people coming in and putting more things over her body, and all of a sudden 2.5 hours goes by.
Oh my goodness.
But I didn't have actually, we were both so tired that we started falling asleep, because you listen to the hum of it, and, like,
Mhm.
we're both kinda
Mhm.
nodding off, and but people are coming in and out, and they're adding more scans.
Mhm.
But we don't realize, we thought this was just part of the initial scan.
Right, again, I say it, you don't know what you don't know. You're like,
Yeah,
"Okay, like,
exactly, exactly.
alright." Yeah.
Um, eventually, they ended the MRI, and, they started, wheeling her out, and, she started waking up a little bit, and, I said to my husband, he knew at that point something was wrong.
Okay.
It still had not come to me.
Yeah.
I was still just thinking, "Yeah, it's a Chiari
Yep. Your
malformation."
brain was still protecting you of
Yes,
yeah.
yeah, that's
Yep.
exactly right.
Mhm.
I just never in my wildest nightmares did I ever think, we were gonna hear what we were about to hear. So she started waking up, and the ICU nurse said, I said, "Wow, that seemed like it was way longer than 30 minutes." So that she said, "Yeah, it was 2.5 hours."
Wow.
And she
Yeah.
said, "The reason it took so long is because we found a mass." And it was like your whole world drops out from underneath you. They slid a chair over for me, because I was, like, absolutely shocked.
Mhm.
Um, Absolutely just, and I had no idea, I didn't know where it was. I didn't
Mhm.
know, I have some knowledge of the brain, but
Mhm.
certainly not what I have now.
Right, right.
And it's like the whole room just it's like I said, it's like you can't even find the words to describe the feeling. It's you get tunnel vision, you know what I mean? You hear that whoosh
Mhm.
in your ears, and you think, this can't be happening.
Mhm.
This is my baby. She's just turned 5 years old, and you're telling me she has a mass in her brain? Like, what?
Mhm. Mhm.
It was this, and, my husband was just very stoic, because he just, it hadn't hit him yet. We
Mhm.
reacted very differently, and I just started
Mhm.
crying and thinking, "God, this can't be happening. This can't be happening."
Mhm.
you feel like you're in a nightmare and you just need to wake up.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
so, from there, she said, we're just gonna have you wait here because we might have to admit her overnight, for
Okay.
more, imaging and testing and whatnot. Um, so the reason they had added to the scans is they were looking for metastasis. They were looking for tumors in other
Okay.
areas, looking down her
Okay.
spine. And then, so because they had originally only done, the head and
Sure.
brain, so they wanted to make sure there wasn't metastasis in her spine and
Mhm.
whatnot. And so we waited for the neurosurgeon. And even she was shocked. Even
Mm.
and, that was something to really see that even the neurosurgeon was shocked that, that she had a brain tumor, and
Mhm.
she
Mhm.
I'm so sorry, and, she has a child of her own, young
Sure.
child as well, who's around Audrey's age, so
Oh
she
gosh, yeah.
just sat next to me and spoke to me as a mom, and that helped so much.
Yeah.
Just to be treated like a human being and, understand the terror that we were feeling and poor Audrey is just waking up and
Mhm.
she's eating,
No idea.
and
Yeah.
she has no idea.
Uh-huh. And that feeling also is a really hard feeling to describe too, of you have this information
How do I tell her?
and they don't, and they're sleeping or they're just waking, and
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and at the same time too, you're trying not to scare them.
Mhm.
And like, I'm holding back, like, I'm not, like, like, ugly, like, sobbing on the
Right.
floor or anything, but I was definitely,
Yep.
sitting with her crying, holding her hand as she woke up, and
Mhm.
I just vividly remember saying, "No, no, my baby, not my baby."
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause it's like, you would give anything for it to be you
Mhm.
and not them,
Yep.
and I
Trade
said
places in a second. Yes.
yeah, it's like, I can't even tell you how many times I just like, "God, just please let me trade places with her. I'll give
Mhm.
anything."
Mhm.
Um, you know
Yeah. You had said very positives and very good, doctors and primary and just very validating and just the power of like feeling heard, even leading up to this point. What kind of support within your family, community, friends, all the things that for you do you feel like made the biggest difference? I know nothing makes a difference that day,
Oh,
unfortunately.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but just from hearing that news and again, trying to process, trying to put a brave face on,
Yeah,
so we're not scaring or so you're not scaring Audrey and, siblings and then going to having to share the news and having to say this and all the different things. What do you feel like was some of the best or the most powerful support that was helpful for you guys?
um, initially, I'm trying to remember who I called first. My mom. Yeah, I called my mother first, she burst out crying too because it's just like, "I can't believe this."
Mhm.
And we did not know, or understand that her tumor location, was life-threatening.
Okay.
Um, Fortunately, she didn't need emergency surgery, like, she didn't need surgery that night for her, hydrocephalus or anything like that.
Okay.
Um, it was very close, to that, but thankfully, we caught it just in time. Um, and, um, I called my mom, and I'm trying to think who else. Some parts are so clear, and some parts are so
I 100%, yeah,
blurry.
yep. I remember that phone call because my mom was with our 2 older kids because we had just gone into the ER thinking we were gonna be told it was migraines,
Right,
um,
exactly.
and it
Yep,
was, the kids it was a Monday night, everybody had school the next day, and we're like,
yep.
"Okay, it's just, like, just hang out with them, get 'em to bed, kinda,
Yeah,
and different things,"
exactly.
and yeah, and then I remember I remember calling, I remember her reaction, I remember, saying, like, "Just don't say a whole lot to Landon and Lauren yet, like, we don't." I don't even know what, like, the
Yeah,
like,
how
we've
to say
heard
it.
it, but I
Yeah,
don't even know, what to
right.
say. We're being, but the words I remember the visceral of the phone call. I don't remember the words of the phone call.
Yep, that's exactly right. I think that's a perfect way to put it is that, um, I remember calling my mom and then, we had family that unfortunately was out of the country and their phones were not working.
Okay.
So my husband's side of the family, they were on vacation, because it was, they live in New Hampshire where we're originally from, and they're on vacation and,
Mhm.
unless you purchase an international plan or something like that,
Right,
your phone doesn't work. So we're
right.
leaving messages and, saying, they found a mass in Audrey's brain, and, I do remember just being very vague, but I needed something to
Mhm,
just something, so I wanted Facebook real quick, and I just said, "Please pray."
mhm.
Um, I didn't get into any details, I don't you know
Yeah,
what I mean? I just said, "Please
yeah,
pray."
yeah.
Because immediately you're thinking cancer, and when you
Mhm,
hear there's a mass in your
mhm,
child's brain. Um, I mean, it's my father died from cancer, but
mhm,
it was not Hodgkin's lymphoma, so it was a different kind, but,
mhm.
um, unfortunately, I had been in that type of situation before.
You've been in that
Um,
world before, yeah.
yeah, so but it's different when it's your child.
Yes.
It's a whole new ballgame because they're your everything.
Mhm,
You gave them life, and,
mhm.
um so we met with a neurosurgeon and, she said we, would meet. She said, "Thankfully, it is an emergency. We don't have to keep her overnight. They got all the imaging that I needed,
Okay.
to see." She said, and this is the important part that I will forever be grateful for her. Um, she said, "I will not be offended if you get a second opinion.
Oh, it's
In
so
fact,
huge.
I
That's
encourage you to."
good for okay. Just applause to that
Yeah,
neurosurgeon because there's so many times that that's not the impression that is given to some families or I mean, horror stories of families having to argue over getting the child's, medical file and, oh, I'm so glad that that was your
absolutely.
guys'
She
experience, and
Yeah,
you are a huge advocate as am I of get get at the very least a second opinion, even
absolutely.
if it's a validation of you are 100% on track.
Yes,
That
yes.
is something yes, just
I cannot
automatic, get a second opinion.
emphasize that enough.
Yes.
Always get a second opinion,
Mhm,
always,
mhm.
because as we learned in the field of neurosurgery, neurosurgeons are vastly different.
Yes. The
Especially
tools are different, the skills are different, how
Mhm.
they go about it is different, and
Yes, there are
yes.
different levels of pediatric neurosurgeons,
Mhm.
and it is an extremely specialized field. And so we said, "Okay," and we had an appointment for the following week because that's when we were originally gonna go over the MRI.
Okay.
So, I do vividly remember calling a coworker of mine, um, that was very much, had become like a father figure,
Okay.
um, and I just remember calling him, and he was crying, and I was crying, and, because he had met Audrey, he knew
Mhm.
Audrey, and um, we had worked together for, oh god, 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
And, you know, he just really cared, and,
Mhm.
I just remember, saying for some reason, I just found immense comfort in talking to him,
Mhm.
and I just said, "It just feels good to hear your voice." Um,
Yeah.
so, yeah, and he's at work, and he's just in a puddle of
Mhm.
um, and, you know, of course, everybody we told was,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they just couldn't believe it, so,
Mhm.
um, going home, trying to think what else they called. My sister was incredible, my brothers,
Mhm.
everybody was just absolutely stunned, uh,
Mhm.
just, um, and our community, really came together, and,
Beautiful.
our
Yeah.
big thing that we wanted to make sure is that all of our family, family and very close friends, um, knew before anybody else,
Okay.
just so that they didn't feel slighted, or you know what
Right.
I mean? Because, I mean, that's important to
That's
make
important,
sure.
and I think also for you and your husband and Audrey and her sister, there's you have to be present with what, like, they are needing.
Right,
You can't unfortunately, there's only 24 hours in the day, and so, like, you don't have the time to tell the story 400 times,
right,
nor mentally, physically, emotionally should that be on your plate. So,
right.
it's important to have, like, your close tribe know to where then ideally one of them is like, "Okay, you're kind of the touch tree." Like,
Yep,
share, but, like,
you have a
I
spokesperson.
right. Yeah, yeah, really true, like, they're your PR network.
Yes,
But, like but very but truly, that was something that we were incredibly grateful for was there like, my brother and, cousins and friends, like, they almost, like, submerged as, like, "I'm gonna take point on this, I'm gonna take point on that," and
yep,
just, like, to where
organized.
then we were able to do what we needed to do for Sam first and foremost, but then also the leftover that sounds horrible, but, like, that leftover anything went to Landon and Lauren. Like, it wasn't,
Yep,
"Oh,
right.
I gotta, call this person," and it's not that I didn't want to, it's just we
Couldn't
didn't
deal
have
with it.
the
You couldn't
bandwidth to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You run out of, energy real fast,
Mhm.
mental
Mhm.
energy to
Yeah. Yeah.
and thankfully, my mom kinda took point on that, and,
Good.
was sort of the touch person who, let people know that I just couldn't, because I got
Mhm.
it like you said, I got to a certain point where I just couldn't tell another person at
Mhm.
that moment, because
Mhm.
I was just so overwhelmed with, fear and grief,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
what's gonna happen to my baby.
Mhm.
And even as small as she's gonna lose all her beautiful curly hair,
Mhm. That's
and
not small. That is such a huge thing. I mean, yeah, it is.
it's just one of those, like, kinda
Yeah.
strange things that you think of,
Mhm.
when you
Mhm.
hear, those words,
Mhm.
about your child, and you don't know. Of course, we didn't know what it
Right.
was. We didn't know, how aggressive it was, or at that time, we were very, very unaware how serious, um, her tumor really was, um, b because, that neurosurgeon, well, I guess I'll fast forward to when we met with her, and her team, over there at Greenville Memorial Hospital, and,
Mhm.
um, she said I would approach it like a Chiari surgery, because it actually is close to that area.
Okay.
We didn't realize, or at least I don't remember realizing that, it was, you know, in the medulla, and it was infiltrating into,
Gosh.
and it was pushing back her cerebellum, and, crowding it, and
Mhm.
getting, very close to the 4th ventricle,
Okay.
um, which is, you know, just terrifying.
Mhm.
but what we didn't know, so we just had this meeting, and she said, so I encourage you to get a second opinion, and I'd already looked at other neurosurgeons, and I did not
Mhm.
know, and she let us know that there's only several hundred um, pediatric neurosurgeons in the country.
Mhm.
We didn't know quite how small the field was.
Mhm.
Um, so I looked up another neurosurgeon at MUSC and saw
Okay.
that they are in Charleston,
Okay.
and they're widely regarded as the best children's hospital in the state.
Okay.
Um, so I mentioned this neurosurgeon's name, and she, before I even got the name out, she said his name because she knew that's who, she just, they all know each other,
Yes, yes, yeah,
such a
yeah.
small field, and they know each other. So she actually texted this neurosurgeon and got us in within, I think it was less than a week.
Wow, okay.
Because we also asked, like, how much time do we have?
Mhm.
Because we knew it had to
'Cause
be,
that yeah, that's the other component is yeah.
yeah, it was operable, but they didn't think they would be able to get very much of it because
Okay,
of the location.
okay,
And they may not, or they may only be able to get enough for a biopsy.
okay.
But thankfully it was, at least they felt like they could get a biopsy, because many of these tumors are completely inoperable.
Mhm,
And you can't even get a biopsy, so you don't
mhm.
know what you're working with and what you're
Right.
treating, which is so hard. I
Mhm.
can't even imagine. Um, So she texted him, and we went down to MUSC. It takes about 4 hours from where we live.
Okay.
Um, and that was another huge, huge blow. I'll never forget that appointment. We actually recorded it just so that we didn't forget any details and whatnot.
Mhm.
Because we realized, when we had met with Dr. Carter initially, that we had forgotten some things, even though we wrote down
Sure, sure.
um, things as well. And the other thing that I forgot to mention was that we had child life there the day of diagnosis. And, I was like, what do we tell her? Because she's just
Mhm.
sitting there eating, and she's just like,
Mhm.
"Oh, that was
Yeah,
fun." Or,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, she
yeah,
had no
yeah,
idea. Obviously she could hear us talking, and I think instinctively she knew something was wrong, but it
yeah.
was registering. Um, And I said, "What do I say to her? What do I
Mhm.
say to her sister, her 3-year-old sister?"
Mhm.
And she said, "Just, s say there's something in your brain that shouldn't be there.
Okay.
Um, that needs to come out."
That
So,
needs to come out. Okay.
that helped a ton,
Mhm.
because, I mean, she's newly 5, and
Mhm.
she's still essentially a toddler.
Mhm.
Um, so that really helped to simplify it for her, so that
Mhm.
we didn't wanna hide anything from her, and
Right,
we,
right,
want her to know what was going on, and, hey,
right.
we finally figured out the answer to what this pain is, and
Mhm.
why you're throwing up in the morning, and,
Mhm.
um, you know, um, unfortunately, it's a complex fix.
Mhm.
So, we met with a surgeon at MUSC, and,
Okay.
it was devastating. It was devastating. He said, if I hadn't recorded it, I wouldn't have believed it. Um, he said this is in a really complex location. Um, it's right where her vital functions are: breathing, um, swallowing, heart rate, um,
Mhm.
because the medulla controls your essential life function.
Mhm.
If you have an injury to it's not compatible with life.
Mhm.
Um,
Mm.
and it was just utterly devastating.
Mhm.
He said, "I might be able to get a little bit of it for a biopsy, but it depends on what, the tumor is made up of. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it out, and she'll
Okay.
probably need chemo or radiation,
Okay.
something treatment along those lines. And
Mhm.
um, he said the prognosis isn't good,
Okay.
and I was shattered.
Of course.
Shattered. Here we were thinking this was. I mean, his opinion was so vastly different from our initial
Mhm.
um, opinion with our initial neurosurgeon that
Mhm.
it just was like it was shocking. It was
Yeah.
shocking. Um, and I appreciate his honesty of how complex this really was.
Mhm.
M and then, he said, "I if I can get any of the tumor out, she'll need, she'll there's 90 she's gonna have severe deficits.
Mhm.
Um, she will probably need, a trach, a
Okay.
feeding tube. She won't be able to breathe on her own."
Oh my goodness.
Um, and she's sitting on my lap, and
Mhm.
I'm just sobbing and
Mhm.
thinking, "Well, how could this be happening?"
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and just begging to trade places with her,
Mhm.
because it's like, I've lived 40 years, she's lived 5,
Mhm.
take me, you know,
Mhm.
she's just a baby. Um, so that drive home from Charleston was absolutely the most heartbreaking thing, with her sitting in the back
Mhm.
and knowing that, you know, and he also said she was gonna need extensive, inpatient rehab,
Okay.
and that, we'd probably be gone for months, um, and they don't have, pediatric inpatient rehab in South Carolina, so it would have had to been in North Carolina.
Okay.
So here I'm
So
thinking,
all of this is just
yeah, and so I'm thinking, "Oh my god," so, wha you think, I knew I would have to leave my job.
mhm.
I mean, I didn't care about I was like,
Mhm.
"I'll do whatever it
But
takes."
it's all those things that you're processing of like, okay, like how does
How we
this
do
work?
this.
Like where do
Yeah,
we yeah. Yeah.
and it just broke my heart thinking that poor Rosalind didn't my younger child, she was
Mhm.
only 3 at that time, and she didn't understand what was going on
No.
at
No.
all.
Yeah.
Um, as smart as she is, you know what I mean? She understood, that
Mhm.
something was wrong with Sissy, but, she didn't understand the extent of it, so
Right.
it's like
Right.
and then so and I think what got me too is thinking that I'm not gonna hear my daughter's voice for months
Mhm.
if she survives.
Mhm.
Um, at that point, they actually thought it was high grade.
Okay.
And then it ended up being low grade, grade 1, pilocytic astrocytoma,
Mhm.
but it did have some really strange features that showed up on MRI.
Okay.
It had, restricted diffusion, which means, which is typical for higher grades.
Okay.
So I still don't know to this day what he thought it was,
Mhm.
but, I'm guessing either glioblastoma or,
Probably, yeah.
something very, very high grade.
Mhm.
Um, but
Yeah.
he was, very sure that, this was gonna be a really long road, and,
Okay.
she would probably be in the ICU for a good while, and, um, just picturing your child like that as you're watching her run around the office and be another
Mhm.
5-year-old, and
Mhm.
you're trying to picture her. She hadn't had an MRI tractography,
Okay.
I believe is how it's pronounced.
Mhm.
Um, to sort of like map out the tumor and see a little bit more, see the pathways in her brain a little bit more and whatnot.
Mhm.
So he said, I want to schedule that and do surgery the next day.
Okay.
So we had initially set up surgery. I believe it was May 21st or something like that. Because we had to do something pretty quickly. It wasn't, um, I remember one of our big questions was, how long do we have?
Mhm.
To,
To make decisions,
or
yeah.
yes, yeah. Um, I am grateful that it wasn't an emergency situation where we didn't have a choice.
Okay.
Um, because when it comes to brain tumors, it's all about experience
Mhm.
and training and tools and technology.
Mhm.
Um, and we didn't know any of this, of course. So we brought her down again. I think it was a week later. Not 100% sure on the
Sure.
timeline,
Yeah.
but this really
Fairly quickly back again to do that step.
yeah, to do that scan. And at that time, I had gotten in touch with Dr. Klimo, so,
Okay.
I had postponed. I said, "Well, let's hold off on the surgery, and
Mhm.
let's just do the, MRI tractography." I didn't realize at that time that, Dr. Klimo's team, would get, all their own imaging,
Mhm. Mhm.
once we got there, so I would have
Right.
foregone that to
Yeah.
begin with if I had known that, but,
Yeah. Because
um,
that's another thing I didn't realize either is even
yeah, and,
the
most
level of
neurosurgeons like to get their
imagery is so
yes,
different. Yes.
yeah, and there can be, MRIs have different Tesla strengths or something
Mhm.
along those lines,
Mhm.
that's, way beyond my understanding, but,
Mhm.
there are vastly different imaging, techniques, and of course, your radiologists and
Mhm.
people who, read the MRIs are
Mhm.
different as well. So, if I had known that, I would have foregone that. But like we were saying earlier,
Yeah.
you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Um,
100%. Mhm.
and so that was another thing that really threw us off because we had that done and w- we got the results, and the neurosurgeon didn't call us with the results.
Okay.
Um, because he knew that we were going to another neurosurgeon. Um,
Okay.
but I saw them in my chart and it said that it was a high grade glioma, and I was just so confused because everything that we had learned so far pointed to the imaging looked like a low grade glioma.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so I was just I remember calling Dr. Klimo, and I immediately got on my phone and I called him. I said, "Give me a call when you get a chance." And
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
freaking out
Mm,
because,
well, right. Yeah, that's
all of a sudden it's like it's a high grade. It's a high grade. It's
right. Right.
because you have to act much quicker with a high grade.
Right. Right.
Um, and I'll never forget him. Just, I mean, he just has a way about him. He just
Like an
talks.
instant calm.
Yes, he
I
just,
don't know how you do that over
he
the
ta
phone.
I don't know,
I
I
don't
don't know. He's a magician or something, I
yes.
don't know.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
immediately just talked me off the ledge, and he said,
Mhm.
I promise you this is not a high grade.
Mhm.
I
And
promise."
how like, in that moment and I assume moving forward, like, what like, once you got the third opinion, but how did you find yourself and maybe your husband as well, like, balancing that hope and that uncertainty, because you have this information of, like, how bad it can be, like, you just left, an appointment of, like, almost the worst of the worst information
Right.
to Now it's saying high grade, even though originally it was low grade, and then you have a doctor that, like, you want to believe, but, like, you don't
Right,
know, that's saying, "I promise you it's low grade, and
right,
here's what I can do," like, that is such a mind cluster too. So how did you balance that? We're uncertain, we've heard this awful, but now
right,
we have this hope
prognosis.
too,
Yeah.
and balance that.
It was it was an emotional roller coaster, to I mean, to the extreme, and it's one of those things you can't possibly be prepared to deal with because,
Mhm,
um, you know, you whenever I've gotten a second opinion on anything, it's usually not that different from the first.
mhm,
But
mhm,
here we had 2 neurosurgeons with vastly different, almost opposite
mhm,
opinions.
mhm.
Um, I mean, they both agreed it was in a very dangerous location,
Right, right.
in a life-threatening location, unfortunately. Um, so it was just mind-boggling
Mhm,
how different the opinions were, and I think a lot of that is based off experience. So, for
mhm,
example, the doctor in Greenville had only done like because we asked them like how many surgeries like this have you
mhm,
performed,
mhm,
and it's just 2 or 3.
mhm.
So that's that. It just comes down to experience.
Very
It's
different.
you
Mhm,
know what I mean? It just depends
mhm,
on how far they are in their career.
mhm, mhm,
And I think I don't know how old she is, but she looked fairly young to me.
mhm.
So I mean, it takes time.
Absolutely.
Um,
Like everything, it's just
right,
you don't want it to take time on your child, but
right, yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's it's the only way to gain that experience.
right,
Yeah,
right. So,
yeah.
and then the neurosurgeon at MUSC seemed like, I mean, I don't recall getting like number of surgeries he's done like that, but he definitely had vastly more experience. So,
Mhm,
that's where the confusion came in of, okay, he has a
mhm,
lot more experience and he's a highly regarded neurosurgeon,
mhm,
and he's telling us that this her prognosis is not good. And
mhm,
um I remember starting to say to him, do you is she and he stopped me because I asked him if she was gonna make it, if she was gonna
mhm.
survive. And he's like, we're not gonna go there yet. And
Okay.
and I do appreciate that he, was like, no, we're not gonna go there. We're not gonna think
Mhm,
about that. We're
mhm,
we're gonna figure this out.
mhm,
And he was also fairly open to getting other opinions, but you know, ultimately, I'm not really sure what happened with that. I don't know if he was upset that we ended up going with another neurosurgeon, but
mhm.
things got a little wonky there.
Okay.
Um, so really, what changed things around was I got on Facebook and I found the pediatric low grade glioma group.
Mhm, mhm,
And I just kind of put out a Hail Mary.
mhm,
I think you responded to that initial post
mhm,
as well.
mhm,
Um, and I just said, okay, kind of explained the situation and the differing opinions. And
mhm,
I said, I don't know what to do. They're basically telling me my daughter's going to die. And
mhm,
immediately, you guys all just like flooded into this post and in the threads, and I got, beautiful, I got messages, everybody's getting on Messenger and, and the whole line is, like, as Dr. Klimo, Dr. Klimo, Dr.
Yeah,
Klimo, you
yes,
know what I mean?
yes,
Like, it's just
yes.
like, I mean, there's a few for like other, neurosurgeons in Boston and
Mhm,
whatnot,
mhm.
and they're excellent as well.
Absolutely, mhm,
But I mean, the whole thread just pretty much filled up with Dr. Klimo, and I had
mhm.
never heard his name.
Mhm.
I had, but I immediately started researching him and learned very quickly that he was, um, basically in my opinion, one of the best neurosurgeons in the world.
Yes.
Um, and, um, next thing I know, one of the group members messaged me and she said, "Do you have any imaging?" Because she had texted Dr. Klimo and said,
I think it was Sylvia. Was it
no,
Sylvia?
it was
Oh.
Denise. It was Denise.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I will forever be grateful for, her
Mhm,
helping me with that initial contact because I was
mhm,
so devastated.
mhm,
I mean, she basically held my hand through it,
mhm,
and I
mhm.
was a complete
Yep,
stranger.
she's incredible,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was a complete stranger, and I just can't
Yep,
thank her enough.
yep. Beautiful shout out to Denise also. She
Yes.
held my hand over the weekend with some hard stuff,
Yep,
so, yep,
yep,
she's yeah, I say it a lot, but say it with such gratitude and authenticity, and it's a family that you never want to belong to,
right.
but
They're
it is a
it's an incredible
powerful,
family.
beautiful
Yes.
family. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's that group and Denise and you and several of the Tiffany and
Mhm,
several of the other moms that have just been active and just have so much knowledge and um really know how to advocate and encourage and just support, and
mhm,
talk us off the ledge. So
mhm,
um, and I'm proud to be a part of that. I'm happy to get on it. If someone a post or a thread and
mhm,
say, let me help you.
mhm, mhm.
Because
You're not alone.
right, exactly,
You're not
that's
alone.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the main purpose for sort of my advocacy and
Mhm,
awareness is that you're not alone.
mhm,
Because will tell you I felt very alone.
mhm,
Because my at least in our case, mothers and fathers react very differently.
mhm.
Um, and
I think Joe would say the same.
yeah, it's just they just do. I
Mhm.
mean, and it's not like a you know it's not to downplay their
Oh, no. Yeah.
what they're going through either. They just deal with it differently.
Mhm, mhm,
Um, so Denise had said, "Do you have any imaging of
mhm,
her? Do you have her anything from her MRI?"
mhm,
And I sent her. I think it was ended up being a screenshot of her MRI or something because I couldn't
mhm,
figure out how to send the file or whatnot. But I had it on my chart, so I sent that to her, and this is on Messenger. And she texted it to Dr. Klimo,
mhm.
and at that time, I'd never heard of a neurosurgeon, a doctor, anybody accepting text messages
No,
or
there's some
anything.
families that'll say, like, "I feel really weird." I was like, "I
I know,
promise
I tell
you,
them all
like,
the time. I'm
just
like,
don't
"Don't
push
feel
through
weird.
it. Just text
Just
'em."
yep, I promise you he will.
Yes,
If he's not busy,
yes,
he will text you back.
yes.
He
It's,
will call you back."
"This is his cell phone number." I'm like,
Yes,
I
I
know it
know.
feels weird. Just
Just do it. Yeah, like,
power through.
trust
Just
me.
do it." Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm,
And I was in that boat
mhm,
too, but she took that that part completely, off my plate.
mhm,
She said, she texted it to him, and she sent me a screenshot, and she said that, she said this, another family in need of help,
mhm,
and he said, "I can get that out, I can get that whole tumor out," and I was like, "What?"
mhm.
And I just remember feeling like, "Is this real? Is
Yeah.
this really do we actually have some hope?"
Yeah.
we you know what I mean? It was just like this little glimmer. And the next thing you know, um, this was Saturday.
Mhm.
The next thing you know, she said, "Can I get your phone number?" So, I give her my phone number.
Mhm.
I think it was within, and so she texted me my phone number, and within Sarah, I think it was, I mean, you know how he is.
Mhm.
It's just, I have no words for this man.
Mhm.
He called me within like 15, 20 minutes
Mhm.
of that, and I really did not, I I honestly thought, like, this is not real.
No.
This is,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was just that amazing
Mhm.
that this world-renowned pediatric neurosurgeon was calling
Mhm.
me on his personal phone on a
Mhm.
Saturday afternoon,
Mhm.
um, at his children's lacrosse game.
Mhm. Mhm.
I mean, that's how that's the kind of
That's
person
him.
he
Yeah.
is. That
I am
is
confident that somehow he is a wizard and has, like, figured out a way to pack more hours in the
I
day
don't
than
know.
what
I
is
joke with
actually
him
there.
all the time. I said, "Do you ever sleep?"
Yeah.
I said, sometimes." I was like, I don't
Mhm. Mhm.
I really don't know how he does it. I think he has 2 cell phones, um, because the last time we went to St. Jude, I mean, you can cut this part out, but
Mhm.
the last time we went to St. Jude, I noticed he had 2, so
Mhm.
I'm thankful for that he has, like, a hopefully has, like, a personal cell phone
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
for family and friends and then
Mhm.
one for, patients
Mhm.
and whatnot, so
Mhm.
I did notice that the last time we went to St. Jude.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think he does have them separate in some way.
Yeah.
So I am thankful for that because
Mhm.
of course, like most, you don't wanna bother someone like that that is so busy.
Yes.
Um,
But he wants to ensure that everyone's getting the best care, whether that's the care where they're currently at,
right.
and
Exactly.
he'll say that too. He's like,
Yep.
I've worked
I
with
agree with.
families that he's like, "I agree with this. This is a solid plan. Stay
Yep.
put." Like,
Mhm. Yes.
it's a genuine I whether it's him or not, he just wants the best care.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And that's exactly it. So, the fact that I was starstruck.
Mhm.
I just could not believe that I was talking to, this incredible neurosurgeon,
Mhm.
and he's saying I can get this out with minimal
Mhm.
deficits,
Mhm.
which was just incredible and just completely opposite of
And
what we just heard.
yes, such a whiplash that
That's
it's
exact
yeah,
yeah. It was
yeah.
like, first it's like, "Okay, we can get a little bit, but we'll probably have to do, treatment,"
Mhm.
and to, "Your daughter's gonna die," to, "No,
Mhm.
I can get your,"
Mhm.
if most of it, without causing severe deficits. He said
Mhm.
the worst case scenario, she may have some damage to her vocal cords and she might need a feeding tube.
Mhm.
And I was like, hey, I was like, I will take it.
Mhm.
I said,
Mhm.
we can handle feeding tubes. My younger daughter had a G tube for over a year. And
Mhm. Mhm.
so, I said, we can handle feeding tubes. Like we are pros.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
if that's all we have to deal with to keep our daughter
Mhm.
alive,
Yeah.
and thriving and healthy again, and then it doesn't bother me a bit.
So how quickly then did you guys decide to go down to Memphis?
As soon, of course, as soon as I spoke to him, I knew.
Mhm.
I knew this is. I said, I don't care. I
Mhm.
remember saying this so many times. I said, I don't care if I have to go beg on the streets. I don't care
Mhm.
if insurance covers it or not. We're going to Memphis.
Mhm.
Um, and because it was just that clear,
Mhm.
Um, so let's see. He said gave me he emailed his assistant Kendall, who is also incredible.
Yep, she's awesome.
Absolutely. I
Mhm.
don't know how she balances all of it.
Yeah.
Like,
I've annoyed her over the weekend too.
Yeah, I mean, she she probably talks to thousands and thousands of
Mhm.
people. I can't even
Mhm.
imagine how she keeps up, but,
Mhm.
she was also incredible. So, um, he sent all Audrey's information to and he also got, he was trying to get into her My Chart so he could see the actual images in
Mhm.
real time and, be able to look at them more closely.
Mhm.
So, and then obviously he wanted his own imaging. And, um, I knew it was going to be complicated because we have state insurance, so
Okay.
aka Medicaid. So
Mhm.
um, I was I knew that it was going to be hard to get them to cover out of state.
Mhm.
Um, and I still don't know what the result was. I just know initially. So basically, what we were trying to do was get insurance coverage before we went down there to meet with him.
Sure. Mhm.
He said, "I don't want to do the surgery any later than the beginning of June." Uh,
Okay.
all
And
through.
this was late May right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. So, all the surgeons that we had got second opinions from. I looked all over the country because
Mhm.
after we saw um after we got that awful news, I was like, I can't accept this. I can't
Mhm.
accept watching my 5-year-old run around, look completely normal, who has two symptoms.
Mhm.
um I can't accept that this is going to be the outcome.
Mhm.
um there's got to be something else somehow, some
Mhm.
way. And I know sometimes there isn't, sometimes that
Right.
these tumors are, even though they're not aggressive,
Mhm.
you know, they're not, they're aggressive, but they aren't.
Mhm.
Slow growing, I guess I should say. Um,
Mhm.
which is just, that's a whole nother thing in itself. It's just
Mhm.
that, the difference between high grade and low grade in that, um, brain tumors are all considered cancer.
Mhm.
Um,
For kids, yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So I did not know that. And
Neither did I.
I
Yeah.
learned that in the group.
Mhm.
That but I do remember the neurosurgeon saying, that they don't like to classify them as benign versus malignant, or
Mhm.
um, they like to classify
Yep.
them in grades because
Yes.
um, they're malignant by location.
Yeah.
They're
And not second stage, third it's yeah, it's low or high grade, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So that was an important distinction to
Mhm.
learn.
Mhm.
Um, because, especially when it comes to brain tumors, benign is not fine.
Right. Right.
I mean, it was, they all can be life threatening
Mhm.
very quickly.
Mhm.
Um, so,
So not
no,
wanting not
I'm
wanting
really,
to not wanting to start surgery after, like, early June. So you get down there.
yes. So we tried fighting with insurance, and we had, this was over a 2 or 3 week period. So I think I spoke to him in the middle of May. I'm not sure of the exact date.
Sure.
Um, so um, some of this is such a blur. I'm trying to think what happened. So he got us in touch with um his assistant, and she said, we're gonna get you taken care of, and
Mhm.
we'll get you down here, even even if you have to go through the emergency room.
Mhm.
She said that would be the, sort of like the worst case scenario, or the, like, kind of like the last ditch
Mhm.
effort.
Mhm.
Um, but at least I knew they would get us in regardless.
Mhm.
Um, and I didn't care how much it cost. Like,
Mhm.
I'll go into medical debt for life if it saves
Mhm.
my daughter.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
it's,
Shouldn't have to, but
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. So you kinda have that peace of mind and knowing that, okay, like, it's going to happen, it's gonna get and we're gonna get down there, and so made your way down there.
Mhm,
How and we do and, like, yes, like we had said, like, they like to do all their own imaging, which makes
mhm.
sense, and then going into day of surgery, that is a very unique experience.
Yeah. Yeah, it sure is. One I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Um, we were not able to get insurance coverage. We fought with them for weeks.
Mhm.
Um, even Dr. Klimo went to bat the whole way. You know, he
Mhm.
did a peer to peer and everything, and they still
Mhm.
wouldn't cover it, saying we could get the same care here in South Carolina, um, which was obviously not true.
Right.
Um, so uh, we finally just said, okay, we're gonna have to go through the emergency room. He said, I've got an appointment for you on Monday morning
Okay.
at my office, and we've got you set up at the FedEx house. So we made our way down there, and
Mhm.
it was it's hard to put into words. The whole thing was just crazy. We were still trying to see if we could get insurance coverage, because when you have insurance coverage, you don't have to go through emergency room and then deal with all that.
Mhm.
You can just be admitted the night before surgery.
Mhm.
And it's a much smoother process. But so we went down there and we finally got to meet with him. And um, to say that I was starstruck was was an understatement. But
Mhm.
I mean, he's one of those people that naturally puts you at ease.
Mhm.
You feel like you're talking to a brother. We met with him on a Monday, and we decided um, that we were gonna go through the ER on Wednesday. Um, I mean, that was not it was not a good experience, to be perfectly honest.
Mhm.
He had let everybody know what was going on.
Mhm.
We got to meet his incredible um what the heck fellow,
Mhm.
Dr. Randall Barnett, and through that process, and um finally, after being in the ER for 12 hours, we were admitted upstairs, and
Okay.
she's scheduled for surgery with Dr. Klima in the morning. He went over with his team
Okay.
that night. He texted me at 9 o'clock, and he said,
Okay.
it's exactly as I expected. I went over all the imaging, because they did all the imaging and everything in the ER.
Right. Right.
Um,
Okay.
they were ready. They were ready for us. He had let everybody know who needed to know, and Randy had
Okay.
already put the order in for admission, as
Okay.
soon as we arrived. So
Okay.
um so yeah, that night we stayed in the hospital. I think we were on the 7th floor or something. I don't remember that. That's definitely a blur. And in the morning, they washed her down and everything, and um brought her to the PACU. We walked down to and they had to pick out a little toy on the way.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um and as we rolled into the PACU, my mom was sitting there, and she was sobbing, and I lost it. I had held my composure until that point, and
Mhm.
I just was sobbing, because even though Dr. Klumo is incredibly experienced, he definitely reiterated that this was an extremely high risk surgery.
Sure. Yes.
Um, you're
Yes.
signing papers, a stack of papers that say
Mhm.
you're, you know, that your child could die. Um,
Mhm.
as you know,
Mhm.
you skim
Mhm.
over it because you just want to get it over with.
Mhm.
Um, but they could have a stroke, or they, you know what I mean? There
Mhm.
there's a lot of
It's
risk.
brain surgery, yeah. Yeah.
Um, no matter where it is, that there's a lot of risk. So, she started to get very upset.
Mhm.
And they gave her sedative, but it did not do anything.
Yeah.
um, I just remember hugging her, saying, it's okay," but of course, it wasn't okay, and I was sobbing.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I didn't know if I was going to get the same child back,
Mhm.
um, that I sent in,
Yeah.
even though I had incredible faith in Dr. Klimo and his team.
Right,
You know,
right.
it's it was my baby, my 5-year-old
Mhm.
child going in for an extremely long, complicated brain surgery.
Mhm.
So, um, he, of course, explained to us how he was gonna go in, and
Mhm.
very thorough, um, as he always
Mhm.
is, and
Mhm.
so we understood as much as we could, through our emotions, and um, so they got her in and started, and obviously, they explained, Dr. Klimo and Dr. Burnett explained, they have to set everything up and
Mhm.
get her head in a halo, and
Mhm.
um, get in an arterial line, and
Mhm.
all
And the
that.
surgery is a really, really long time that's it's a whole 'nother component with it.
Thankfully, they update you every hour, and
Mhm.
they let you know how she's doing, and
Mhm.
um they had, thank God they had the intraoperative MRI,
Yes. Yep.
because that is
Key. Mhm.
the whole reason that he was able to get the whole tumor.
Mhm. Same with
Um,
Sam. Mhm.
yep. So he texted me at about, I think it was about 2 o'clock. I was like, "How you texting me from the OR?"
Mhm.
She was in the MRI at that point, that they have in the OR, which is just incredible. And he said, "I think we got it all. We're just doing our, intraoperative MRI right now." And um,
Ugh.
then he texted me back and he said, "Yeah, there's still some tumor. We have to go back in. So
Okay.
it'll be a while longer." So it ended up
Okay.
being a 12-hour surgery.
Mhm.
Um,
Which is so incredibly long, and the only other option without the operative MRI is they finish the surgery, then they do imaging, then they go, "Oh, there's still tumor in there,"
and then I
and
have to go back.
you
Mhm.
go back, do and so it's both both are not ideal, but in that moment, it's, "Okay, let's endure the 12 hours."
Right. And the thing of it is that it saves her from having to have a second surgery.
Right, right.
Um, so that incredible technology was phenomenal. We did not
Mhm,
know until the next morning that he got it all, because they tried to do, after he went in and went down, into the C1 area. Um, that was the really difficult part,
okay.
because um, some of it was diffuse. It was, you know what I
Mhm,
mean? It was,
mhm,
and it was in a really, difficult spot.
mhm, mhm.
And they had they had at one point, when he was trying to get to the last bit, they lost all function on her right side.
Okay.
All their tools had told, I forget what they were called, but they had
Mhm,
little markers on here just
mhm.
to let them know what was, working, and they lost all function on the right side,
Okay.
and my heart just dropped when he told me that.
Absolutely, yes.
And he said, so we pulled back, we
Okay.
stopped. And then the next morning, um, they had to get another MRI,
Sure.
and he called me. They were rolling her back up. I saw her coming around the corner in the ICU, and he said, "We got it all."
Oh gosh.
And I was like
Also indescribable.
I was like, "You're amazing,"
Mhm,
and It was the most incredible moment to be told go from, "Your child's probably not gonna make it," to, "We got it all."
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
uh, it's indescribable.
Ap yeah, literally.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Literally, yes,
I know,
yes.
you know absolutely firsthand, so it's just absolutely miraculous to look at your child and
Mhm,
see that they're a walking, talking miracle.
mhm.
Um, you
Yes.
know, obviously there's still, um, some stuff, but,
Mhm,
I mean, relatively speaking, she's a normal 6-year-old.
mhm.
She did have to relearn how to walk.
Okay.
She never needed a feeding tube. She never needed a drink.
Wow.
She was extubated when she came
Okay,
out of surgery.
okay.
Um, and within a few days after surgery, she was walking. And then
Mm,
she's very weak on the right, and it was very painful for her.
mhm,
Um, of course, and the recovery was incredibly challenging and really hard to
mhm,
watch. Um, her just in agony trying to walk, and she
mhm.
couldn't. And then one day it clicked.
Mhm.
We went
What a
outside.
beautiful yeah, what a beautiful moment.
We went outside for the first time, and I think it was 3 or 4 days post-op,
Mm,
and she said, "I wanna try to walk," and she grabbed my hand, and we just walked around. We were in the little garden at Le
mhm,
Bonheur,
mhm,
and it was all up from there. It
mm,
was just
mhm.
incredible to see her. She is stubborn and tenacious, and she used that to her advantage, in her recovery. Um
Incredibly, yeah.
She had to do, PT and OT, and,
Sure.
she had a little trouble swallowing at first, but I think it was more from being intubated for so long.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
yeah, and, they checked her vocal cords, and they were all good.
Mhm, good,
Um,
okay.
she never needed speech therapy.
Great.
She was able to eat normally, within a day or 2.
Great, okay.
Um, she from the morning we went into the emergency room. She had vomited a few times that morning,
Okay.
and from that point on, she never threw up again.
Oh my gosh, and isn't that just on top of it all just
Mhm.
wow. Yeah, yeah.
I know that's she was nauseous, of course, because
Mhm,
she just had brain surgery, but,
mhm,
she I know that it's normal for them to
mhm,
vomit a lot after brain surgery, but she
mhm.
never did.
Wow,
She never
wow.
it just it was just amazing. She had some, some numbness, and definitely, like, her right side is still a
Sure.
little bit weaker, but it's only noticeable to people who really know her.
Mhm,
But playing
mhm.
softball has been a huge help, and,
I
she com
bet, yeah, in a lot of different
Yep.
capacities, yeah, yeah.
She completed, physical and occupational therapy, in the fall of 2024.
Okay,
So within a few months after surgery, after being told that, she was gonna need inpatient rehab
mhm,
and,
mhm,
all this scary stuff too,
mhm.
she just she just rocked it. I mean,
Yeah. So what softball, obviously, but what else does the the strong and beautiful six-year-old Audrey enjoy doing for fun?
irritating your sister mostly.
That does sound fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
she loves to swim,
Okay,
and that has also
okay.
been really beneficial.
Mhm.
She absolutely loves the water.
I bet, yeah.
She she loves animals. She
Oh, yes.
is I could see her being a veterinarian. I mean, she's so smart.
What's something that you would want another family maybe starting this journey to know?
Number 1, you're not alone. We are
Never. Mhm.
brain tumor families, especially brain tumor mamas, are absolutely incredible, and we're here for you, and do not be afraid to get a second, third, fourth, fifth, 10th opinion
Mhm.
until you're comfortable with who your team is and who can do the best for your child, and
Mhm.
we're here with you every step of the way, and don't be
Absolutely.
afraid to stand up and advocate for your child.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. What's something this is kind of a fun question. What's something fun to do in South Carolina where you guys are at? I always hear that it's beautiful. It's one state that I have not been to yet.
It is beautiful. It's very, very hot in the summer.
Okay. Yep. Makes
They
sense.
have, some amazing farms around here,
Oh.
um, and they have, and downtown is really nice. They have a lot of historical landmarks, um, and the library is absolutely beautiful.
Mhm.
Um,
Very fun. Very
what
fun,
else?
very fun.
Yeah.
And if Audrey was sitting next to you today and I asked her what was her or what is her most favorite thing to eat, what would she say?
I would say that would be a toss-up between mac and cheese and chicken nuggets.
Solid 6-year-old choices for sure. I love it. I
Yep,
love it. I love it.
absolutely.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, Becky, thank you. Thank you so incredibly much for coming on today
You're
and
welcome.
being being courageous enough to reshare your story with everybody. And I 100% agree with you of if one person's able to hear it and be able to help another child or help another kiddo or help another family
Yeah,
and just know that they're not alone or know what signs to look for or know to it's okay to advocate or get resources and just feel not alone in even their emotions. So
yeah,
thank you so very much for um just sharing that and being able to walk us through that journey and the journey that you're still on because
yeah, thank you,
it's
yeah.
it is.
And,
Mm,
I think the biggest takeaway is trust your gut. Trust
mhm,
your mama gut, trust your
agreed.
parent gut. Um, just trust it no matter what.
Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And thank you everybody for taking time out of your day to listen to this incredible story of Becky and Audrey and the entire family. And thank you for your support of the Sammy Strong Foundation and allowing this platform for families to come and be able to share their experiences and connect and just remind every single kid and family to keep fighting because hope's on deck. If you'd like to learn more about the Sammy Strong Foundation, our website is gosammystrong.com. We are on both social medias of Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn. Please feel free to connect, learn a little bit more about the foundation, and click on to get our newsletter and if you feel the desire to be able to donate or give back, just know that donations go back to these other kids and families and the warriors that they are. So Becky, thank you so very much for coming,
You're
and
welcome.
I look forward to talking with you soon. Please keep us updated because you guys go back when for scans.
I believe it's March. We
Okay.
go back
Okay.
March, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I know we always circle around that and just send
Yeah,
prayers and light and
definitely.
all of it. So, keep us posted and thank you so much for everything.
Yes, thank you so much for having me and being such an
Absolutely.
amazing support.
Absolutely. It is our honor to be able to walk alongside. Thank you.